This is something good. This is going to be something very interesting. After getting back from Tanawan, let's just be actually clear. I wanted to actually continue posting my response to Zen Mr. Al. But I thought before I do that, I got a rest. I had to actually figure out some things. And then I saw this update. The update that actually is going to link you from the QR code that I'm actually now showing you right here. And it's a video from Legal Mindset. And it's a video called Vitaly Tries Mental Health Excuse. Do you know how very, very, very pathetic that is? Before being a tourist at all, and if you are a tourist at all, you should have thought of these things before you did the bullshit that you actually did. And let me just be actually clear about this. Whether you are a tourist or not, you got to at least try to be respectful and try to think of another person's position before you do something to them. Because one sane person would actually think, this person is me. This person could be me. This person could be in my place. And this shit happens to me. Basically, it's thinking of cause and effect and then putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Seriously. The simple thing you have to do is look within yourself to see if all this shit's cool with you before you do it. Did he? It's really pathetic. He's now crying wolf. But you know who actually was also crying wolf before, trying to gain the forgiveness of those who were actually giving him so much backlash, so much hate? Ramzi Khalid Ismail, alias Johnny Somali. And they did not take his bullshit once. They did not take his bullshit once. And they were right in not taking his bullshit. Not even once. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just need to make sure that this is not repeated. So we're going to do this. You guys should actually check Legal Mindset's channel. He definitely has been keeping tabs on Vitaly. Thank goodness to something.
This is from GMA. So this is a, official mainstream media outlet in the Philippines. And this is an update today on the Vitaly case. So what we're going to do is...
Oh, by the way, this is around 13, 14 hours ago already as of this time. So yeah.
And this is the main thing I want to show you guys today. Once again, it's 2 minutes. It's very quick. I'm going to play this through without any interruptions. Now, I put on the AI translation or the automatic translation into English. However, thank you to Angel Chase and the others that submitted translations of this. I had several translations of this that have been submitted to me. Thank you, everybody who did that. 3 different translations. I appreciate all of
nice.
you. my Filipina and Filipino brothers. You guys are amazing. Thank you. So I'm going to have their more professional and kind of clean translations. I'm going to read one of those after. So we'll go through this with the AI translations. Understand it is not perfect. And it's not, 100% keen. But we'll go through both this and a better translation. So this is, once again, today, an update on Vitaly.
Ng Justice Department ang kaso laban sa Russian vlogger na si Vitaly Zudorowetsky. Yan po ay sa kabila ng apela niyang ibasura na ang kaso dahil nagkakaroon na raw siya ng mental health issues sa gitna ng pagkakapiit. Nakatutok si June Veneracion.
Ginawa niyang katatawanan ang mga CQ sa BGC, pati mga nakakasalubong sa kalsada, hindi nakaligtas sa kanyang panunuya. Magdadalawang buwan na ngayong nakakulong ang Russian vlogger na si Vitaly Zudorowetsky sa detention facility ng Bureau of Immigration dahil sa pagiging undesirable alien. Sabi ni Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Rimulya, sumulat sa kanyang Russian vlogger.
Sumulat sa akin na he's suffering from mental health issues daw.
Issues? Ano yung pakiusap niya?
Na kung pwede i-drop na yung mga kaso na hindi sila patawad.
No, I have a question for you.
Yeah, he basically is asking a Bureau of Immigration's secretary to drop his case. It's not that simple, bro. Only 2 months later, after he is detained, did he ask for forgiveness. He did not seem to know how insanely screwed he is. The moment he got detained, he just never really cared until, I'm just only up to this way. And then, oh no, shit, I got screwed. I got screwed bad. Vitaly, you may have taken Sly Kane into this, but because of your own bullshit, even he had to actually force himself to get legal representation because the National Bureau of Investigation was actually getting video and images without Christopher Sly Kane Dantes' consent. So basically, everything that you've done here caused a shitstorm that forced him to get a lawyer behind the scenes. So this is why Sly Kane has not been updating everyone too much. He was told not to comment by counsel, and more possibly, counsel also advised him to purge social media. And also, also took inspiration from Badang's suffering on social media because for 6 years in Badang, the molester of Sly Kane's daughter back in 2016, did not remove social media regardless of the cases that were actually against him. But after the 2022 acquittal, it finally settled down to a point, right? The 6 years of suffering in social media is something that it should not be repeated. And if Christopher and Anne had taken inspiration from that also serves as a, hey, it makes sense moment. So purging and privating social media at that point to avoid further public scrutiny from an angry mob, it absolutely makes sense. So Sly Kane had to sacrifice his social media at least until everything has cooled down. And for 2 months, he is avoiding accountability. I know he is a douche, but this is something doable while he is also actually handling his own activities. Basically, this is very doable. And unfortunately, it just doesn't allow him to get the accountability he needs. But it's already been 2 months. There should at least be an update from his ass, as he was still Vitaly's cameraman. And now that Vitaly himself is crying wolf, giving the excuse that he is actually using the mental health excuse, this is disgusting. Why didn't he think of these things before he did what he did? Seriously, the ultra money flexing, the otherworldly activity of gambling while on stream, the things that are mind staining that are completely foreign to different types of nationalities. These types of activities should definitely be considered brain rot and mostly unacceptable to the most sane of people. Does he not see that? Do other nuisance streamers not see that? Even Johnny Somali? Because at this point, the only way that they can actually be redeemed is be made an example of. And the right stuff is happening here. Really, the right stuff is happening here.
By the way, I will stop there. This is, of course, in case you guys didn't recognize, this is John Vic Remula, who is Secretary John Vic Remula, who's been awesome about this. He has really been amazing in pointing out exactly why Vitaly needs to be punished, why Vitaly deserves justice, deserves the same process as anybody else who violates the law in the Philippines. He's once again the one that Vitaly has to appeal to try to get out of jail. And we'll see the response here.
No, I have a question for you.
Pero ayon kay Remulla, hindi pwedeng palampasin ang mga ginawa ni Vitaly. Sa susunod na linggo, sasampahan na raw siya ng kasong unjust vexation. Kaugnay ng reklamo, isinampa ng 3 gwardyang inalay niyang content sa altar ng social media. Batay sa resolusyon ng prosecutor's office ng Taguig, merong sapat na ebidensya para magkaroon ng reasonable certainty of conviction para sa krimeng unjust vexation.
So that means, so to stop right there, they've got him, boys. Let me play the clip. In terms of unjust vexation,
ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Oh my God. Prosecutors find enough evidence. You do not want to hear those words. You do not want to hear those words if they got you detained. And if you have pending cases, you do not want to hear those words. That they have enough evidence because, oh my God. You did not want to hear those cases. Oh my God, he's screwed.
prosecutors are saying there is sufficient evidence. They don't need anything else. They've got everything they need to convict him of that. I believe there's multiple counts of that because there were 3 separate security guards that are involved in that that have kind of come forward on that. So there's more than enough evidence to do that, which is good, which means they've got something they can for sure go ahead on. Now, there are other charges which they've decided they may not bring.
Ibinasura naman ng piskalya ang reklamong theft. Bago lumabas ang resolusyon ng prosecutor's office.
So to be clear, and I'm going to reread this in the translation and explain it, they did drop theft complaint. So theft complaint, he was charged with unjust vexation and theft. They did drop theft.
Nagtangkaraw ang mga abogado ni Vitaly na regluhin ang mga complainant na gwardiya, sabi ni Remulla.
Mabuti na lang yung mga security guard ay matibay ang loob, hindi bumigay at itutuloy natin yung kaso.
Sinusubukan pa naming makuha ang panig ng mga abogado ni Vitaly. Para sa GMA Integrated News.
So that's the clip there. So let me read the translation for you guys. I know some of you probably got it there in the, obviously my Filipino brothers, you guys probably got that translation. But let me read this out to you, kind of more formal translation. So this is same article, just more clean translation. The Justice Department is going forward with the cases against Russian vlogger Vitaly Zorvetsky, despite Vitaly's appeal to dismiss the case because he is having mental health issues inside prison. Okay. So he begged for them to let him go because he's having mental health issues. And they said, no, we're going forward with it. So note that. Anybody says he's going to get out because he claims, ooh, my feelings are hurt or whatever, not going to happen.
Basically, what did Vitaly even think was going to actually happen? Vitaly thought that he was actually going to get released soon enough if he actually wrote a letter. Here's the thing about this. Things are not that simple because holy shit, you caused anxiety and you actually made people angry because we're not only disorderly, you knew what you were doing and you also knew that you were not going to stop unless you really just calmed down by yourself. That's basically, that's not mental illness. That's not claiming mental illness. That is you knowing step by step how you're going to do things, and then you did them. And what's happening to you now? That's you being screwed because of your actions. Actions have consequences. The law of action and reaction, pretty much.
Continuing. He made fools of the BGC security guards. Even the people he met on the streets were not safe from being mocked. For almost 2 months, Russian vlogger Vitaly is inside the detention facility of the Bureau of Immigration because of being an undesirable alien. According to Interior Local Government Secretary John-Vic Ramula, Vitaly wrote him a letter. So Vitaly personally wrote a letter to Ramula asking for forgiveness and asking to be let go. Ramula said, he wrote me a letter and states he is suffering from mental health issues. What is his plea? And that is to drop the cases. And he says he is sorry and asking for forgiveness. So Vitaly wrote him a letter saying, I have mental health issues. I'm sorry. I want forgiveness. Real quick comparison here. Who else claims that? Johnny Somali. You know what other?
Exactly. There are parallels to people who are pieces of shit, bro. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god. They're real absolute pieces of shit. It's just not. Oh my god. If only these types of people really thought of those things. And they're live streaming, okay? They were absolutely live streaming this, and they were really just keeping an eye on things because they got a big audience, okay? The only reason why this actually happens is there is a very, very, very big audience of people who actually keep an eye on people's actions and then question their actions on chat. And if they're not addressed, question the actions that are being questioned, it comes up as an issue. Basically, the thing that you have to understand, okay? People who are either degenerates, even people who are degenerates, could consider some shit inexcusable. I'm sorry about the word. They consider some actions inexcusable, even if they want to follow their favorite streamer. Because even on brain rot, there are some right and wrong things. Okay? Some degenerate people know this. Other more sensible people who don't initially follow the streamer, him, just to tell her, just to tell any streamer who's breaking the law, who's breaking societal standards, they tell him this. To absolutely make sure that they're crossing lines. So IRL streaming is going places. However, there's got to be people that take accountability for their actions. Vitaly and Johnny Somali included. These nuisance streamers are going to be stopping soon. And I'm actually glad that this is actually going to happen soon enough. So, yeah.
People claim that, a lot of the nuisance streamers. If that is allowed to fly, every single person will go to other countries, will start creating issues, whatever. Oh, I got mental health issues. Oh, you got to let me go now. It is just something that is going to be abused, and we got to put the foot down on it. And really, it's a global thing. Just claiming carte blanche, meaning whatever, you can do whatever you want as long as you say mental health issues, isn't the right way to go in the administration of justice. It can work in some other scenarios, but in the administration of justice, enforcement of laws, it is absolutely unenforceable. Let's continue. As per Ramula, he doesn't want to condone it or let pass the actions of Vitaly. Next week, the unjust vexation charge cases from the 3 security guards will be officially filed against Vitaly for the content that he posts on social media. According to the resolution of Tagiq prosecutor's office, there is sufficient evidence to make a reasonable certainty of conviction, which means he's done on those charges of unjust vexation. And now I'm going to say they call it the fiscal, right? Which it's a Filipino word referring to the public prosecutor or district attorney. But that prosecutor, did dismiss the theft case before it was sent forward. So that means that they dropped the theft charge. Likely because there is insufficient evidence, or because they felt like they didn't want to bring it. They felt it was weaker. Maybe they felt it might look petty, etc. Right? There could be a million reasons why they decided not to do it. Likely insufficient evidence on the theft charge.
steal bikes. Basically, he tried to steal bikes, and they didn't work because he didn't have the keys. That actually makes sense. Look, at those days, at those times, on those stunts, yes, he was being a troll, but that part of that part of his activities did not work because he didn't have the keys. So those ones were dropped. But the industrial fan, and then the industrial fan, however, was still notable. I'm not sure if the theft was actually part of that, but that is considered theft, though. Look, those parts of his activities, if it's all of his activities, and because he actually returned them, fine. They were dropped simply because he apologized for those actions in particular. But did he apologize deeply for the rest of it? Even if the others were apologized for, here's the problem with that. You are told disruption of society and breaking of laws, they get you consequences, untold consequences, but they get you consequences regardless. It doesn't matter if you're told of them or not. You should at least only have common sense. There's a reason that life should have common sense. Seriously. Even I know that.
So they dropped that one. So anybody who comes out here and says that the Philippines is unfair or unjust or not doing things right or not giving due process is absolutely lying to you, because you see here, they absolutely did consider everything carefully. And they said, look, we're not going to bring theft. We're going to go ahead on unjust taxation. So that was dropped. And then the Vitaly's lawyers tried to settle with the 3 security guards as per, and I got to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Hold on. Kozo said it right here. Remulia. There you go. I'm trying to think.
This entire time, he was pronouncing it wrong. I don't mind. He's not from the Philippines. It looks cool.
Covering this. Sorry. And once again, my pronunciation isn't perfect. I'm doing the best to try. Remulia. So Remulia, according to him, they tried to pay out the security guards. Think about that for a second. Think about how insulting that is to the integrity of the Philippines. Saying, hey, and that's exactly what he has been doing from the beginning, is trying to say, hey, I'm just going to buy these people out. I'm just going to give you a couple bucks afterwards. Here's $5. You know, that's worth your dignity. That's worth your respect. That's worth denigrating your country. That's worth making a fool of your nation, your business, you know, the individual.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And it's absolutely disgusting to me. And I go back to the video. Let's go back to the original video. And I'm going to get back to finish the statement in a second. But getting back to the original video, I read that line and I thought about this when he's with this woman, right? And you guys probably all remember this one, but remember what he did here. Watch.
I'm going to rob you if you keep walking away.
And she stops because she's scared.
Yep. That in itself is scary. I'm gonna rob you if you keep walking away. That in itself is scary, bro. That in itself is scary to someone who's just being a regular walker, or just going from one place to another. And then this was just suddenly said to you. Certain types of rumors are not immediately understood by people, and if they are normally conceived as threats just because they're taken literally. Basically, people are just going to stop and think and fear for their lives. It's a real thing, and this piece of shit doesn't understand that. So, yeah.
Right. Once again, I'm going to effing rob you. She stops, and then as soon as he realizes he's in trouble because he's just done, he just committed a crime there.
Exactly.
He goes, I want to give you money.
For Pete's sake, I know he gives money left and right to actually have some goodwill from people who actually don't know him, but the behavior is getting way too hot for someone who flexes his money too much, and for someone who shoots his shit without thinking that there will be consequences again and again and again. This needs to be reiterated to anyone who's going to flex their money just because they are tourists. There's no excuse for unacceptable behavior in society. If the result of it is they become threatening, they become somehow violent because of the threats, or they become absolutely inappropriate, or if they become absolutely inappropriate. I'm just saying it here. Ever since the Johnny Somali thing had started in Japan, I thought to myself, it is better to keep your hands in your pockets, because this guy, Johnny Somali, the AKA of Ramsey Khalid Ismail, this guy doesn't get it, or this guy is shooting his shit too much, absolutely too much, while live streaming it consciously and while earning. That to me is all kinds of inappropriate, and that shit should really be punishable by the law. Of course, we all know what happened to him from Japan. He was deported. He was actually banned. He had to leave Japan. But he repeated these things on Israel and South Korea. And now he's stuck in South Korea. He's losing case hearing after. There are more times he pleads guilty. There are some cases he pleads not guilty to, it will not change a thing. He will lose on the not guilty pleas. He will lose on the not guilty pleas because he is forced to get witnesses for himself. But I am betting to say it, the only witnesses he will have are for those trying to prove his character. They will do little, as he will still lose in court. You shoot your shit too much to the point that it becomes absolutely inappropriate. I'm sorry, get fucked.
I want to give you money. It's a behavior that he's learned, and it's a behavior that needs to be broken. It's an unacceptable behavior to say, I can do something threatening, I can do something criminal, and then immediately, because I offer you money, it's okay now. It's all right, because I offered you money, right? If that, once again, imagine that person is your grandmother, imagine that person is your mom, your aunt, your sister, whatever else. You're not going to feel the same way about it. You're not going to be okay with somebody just offering them money after threatening them. Let me finish the statement here. They said they continue to say in the statement, it's a good thing the 3 security guards are strong and did not give in. Other translations, strong, or like strong-hearted or strong-willed, and they did not give in to the bribery. They will continue with the cases. So the security guards were offered money. They turned it away, which absolutely based on the part of the Filipino security guards. And they're going to continue. They're going to press those charges. They're reaching out to Vitaly's lawyers for comments, but so far there's no comment from Vitaly's lawyers. So we have no comment from the Vitaly side of this. Interesting updates there. The fact that he really tried mental health. And to me, I laugh at him because he always makes fun of Vitaly, tries to play this tough guy act, right? He tries to play this internet tough guy, this guy who's, so tough, and, oh, look at you, you're wearing a COVID mask, or, which it's not even a COVID mask. The air quality is not good in Southeast Asia. You often want to wear a mask just for air quality, whatever else. There's a million reasons, or you could be sick, right? Genuinely sick. So he's trying to pick on this poor woman and saying, you're effing liberal, etc. But, he goes over here and he's whining and crying about mental health. It's just the juxtaposition is very hilarious.
Yep. In
my light. But beyond that, to think that they're just going to drop it and let it go away, not even saying, okay, look, I'm wrong, please be lenient.
But every time these types of people are forced to be held accountable, they refuse to be held accountable because they acknowledge that something was wrong with them. No, that's the problem with this. You consciously knew what you were doing. You think that there was something wrong with you because of those things, and by deep reflection, you actually agree to yourself that you're afflicted with the problems with your mentality when those actions that you have done could have been avoided by actually reflecting first. You could have reflected first at all about everything that you've done, about everything that you were doing before you did those things. And you also didn't read the room in Southeast Asia, Vitaly. You also did not read the room in Southeast Asia. These types of things are being prosecuted against. You did not even think that this thing was happening in South Korea. I bet you didn't care, even if it were going to happen to you. You didn't care of the consequences. Yeah, basically you didn't care. Yeah, basically you didn't care.
Hey, drop everything and let this go away. That's not how this is going to work, right? You're not in a position to make a demand that they dismiss anything. You could say you're sorry, right? That's fine. If he's genuinely sorry, that's okay. But you're not in a position to demand that the country drop the case against you because you have mental health issues.
So basically, yeah. He is absolutely so. We really just got to thank Legal Mindset for actually releasing updates. I know there are some people who actually doubt him because of his past record leaving the United States because of debt collection. But let me just tell you guys, if he is trying to figure things out and he's in another and he's just in another country trying to settle down because he screwed up during his time being as a lawyer, I don't mind. His past wouldn't matter unless there is a reason for him to actually address it. Why is he not addressing it? They would be considered controversial, but if he's not really addressing it I think I wouldn't really think that he would actually need to address them. And it has nothing to do with his image, okay? He's given a big chance to actually learn from all his mistakes before, and he's being helpful. The least he can do is to be helpful, right? Make sure the internet is clean for as much as possible. That's why I easily align with Legal Mindset. So regardless of his past, I'm just going to be very much telling you my alignment with him is an absolutely solid one. So nothing you can do when it comes to questioning my alignment with Andrew. Guys, it'll be quite important to let you guys know of where I am at the moment, as I'm still getting shit together when it comes to my content. There are 4 videos privated, still pending because I still don't have thumbnails. So reason there are videos dating May 28, May 28, May 29, May 29. Basically, those videos haven't been published out yet because I don't have thumbnails. So it's hard to generate thumbnails on your own, but it is good to generate thumbnails on your own if you are the type to not hire people who are generating thumbnails for you, as you can actually do it on your own. It takes time. Okay, just so you guys know, that's how I roll. But I would rather actually make sure that this video is published first, so you guys are going to actually see it first. So yeah. I'm just looking at the titles of my videos. Bows or Bow the Whales, Smash or Pass with Doki is insane. And then a 16-year-old custom Pixar animation I watched. Is that good? And then Opinion, Trump is a big baby over his Harvard problem, which he is. And then I found out the incident which hurts Slikane. I thought the past of Slikane had everything to do when it comes to his social media purge, but apparently it's mostly about the Vitaly incident and that he didn't want to incur more public scrutiny, which actually makes sense. But of course, he is ducking out an accountability, which I find it a douchey thing to actually for him to actually do. He's avoiding charge. He's trying to avoid accountability in the court of public opinion, which he is allowed to do with legal representation, which I really hate sometimes. It just tells you of the difference between a rich guy and the people who are watching him. Seriously, a bit of an ounce of accountability after his legal statement is appreciated. Really, some sort of statement of accountability needs to be really just proven. All he has to do is just that, and definitely all of us are going to settle down. But we will not settle down. No apologies will be given to him until there is a legal statement that actually absolves him of his crimes or tells of his accountability. And that's what we're waiting for. But it's been 2 months ever since the incident. Still, there is nothing. Dantes, either give us something or we will not stop. Just making sure that you understand. Okay?